welcome back to Food Prep Guide and welcome back to the Pantry Challenge. Tonight is homemade pizza. Now I just recently started making homemade pizza from scratch just in the last couple months because I always thought homemade pizza was complicated. You know, you had to make the dough from scratch and you gotta make the sauce from scratch, and I kinda, when it comes to pizza, like I kinda just wanna pop it in the oven and be done with it. But that was before I discovered this pizza crust recipe. It is so simple, and the sauce is simple too. So first we are going to grease our cast iron skillet. This is a 15-inch cast iron skillet. You can do this with a 10 or 12-inch one, would work fine as well. And it doesn't even have to be cast iron. I mean, you can make this with other types of pans. Okay, so for the crust recipe, it is 1 cup of flour. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, you want to have your oven nice and preheated before the skillet ever goes in. So you're going to preheat to 425 degrees before you start this process. Okay, to that cup of flour, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt, 3 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. Whisk that around a little bit. Then we're going to add 2/3 cup of milk. And then we need 2 eggs, which I forgot to grab, so let me go grab those real quick. Okay, I've got the eggs. I'm going to crack the eggs in this bowl first individually. If you missed our video yesterday, or maybe that was the day before yesterday, we are out of eggs, and these are water glass eggs. So it's possible that they might be bad. So out of an abundance of caution, I just want to crack them in this bowl. Looks good. That one looks good too. Now we're just going to whisk all this together. So to recap, it is just flour, salt, Italian seasonings, eggs, and milk. And that's all we need to make our pizza crust. It sounds simple, but it's delicious. Now in this size pan, this is a 15-inch pan, this is going to be more of a thin crust pizza. We have done this before in a 10-inch pan, and it's a little bit thicker than your traditional hand-tossed pizza. So just use that as you're judging whether or not your family likes thin crust or traditional hand-tossed. You can decide that based on what size pan you use. Okay, now we're going to pour this into our skillet. It's going to be very liquidy. It's not going to really look like dough at all. Now this pizza is a little bit different because we are not doing dough, sauce, cheese, and toppings. We're going to actually put our meat directly into this dough to bake it for that first phase directly in the dough. Oh yeah, actually I'm going to try something new tonight. When I was digging through my freezer looking for our meat, we always use, where is it? Here it is. Whenever we are making this homemade pizza, we always use these tomato basil chicken sausage from Aldi. It's really, really good. I just chop it up, brown it up a little bit, and there it is. But while I was digging through the freezer looking for that, I found this big block of Swiss cheese. Swiss cheese slices. I have no idea where it came from. I know I didn't buy it, but it's been in the freezer for who knows how long. I'm going to give it a smell test and make sure it's okay. Yep. So I was thinking this would be good just laid flat on top of the crust as a nice, give it a nice extra cheesy taste to it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to layer this cheese all the way around. I've never had Swiss cheese on pizza, so this might be a really bad idea, but I mean, it's Swiss cheese. It's good. At least we like Swiss cheese. Okay, so now I've got that base layer of cheese down. Now we're going to add our meat toppings. You can do whatever meat you want. Like I said, we do this tomato basil chicken sausage. We're just going to spread that out evenly around. This package was 4 little links of sausage, and that is plenty for our family. So we only have to use one of those packages. We buy several at a time, stick them in the freezer, and then we always have pizza fixins whenever we want them. Okay, at this point we're going to pop it in the oven before we do anything else. No sauce, no cheese, not yet. We're going to pop that in the oven for 20 minutes at 425 degrees. And while that's baking, I usually start prepping my toppings. So we have, excuse me, I have dehydrated mushrooms here that I just put in a bowl about an hour ago of warm water, and they're going to be nice and rehydrated. I have dehydrated minced green and red bell peppers. I'm going to pour these, I'm not rehydrating these first, I'm just going to pour them directly on top of the sauce and they'll rehydrate while the pizza cooks. And then I have some diced red onion that I'm going to put on half of the pizza for my husband and I. To make the pizza sauce, we just need 1 can of diced tomatoes and undrained. I've also made this with a jar of pasta sauce before, so if you have that and want to use that, go for it. 1 can of diced tomatoes and 1 can of tomato paste. Mix it around, and then it's just a matter of adding seasonings. We always do basil, usually a little bit of salt, a little bit of garlic, some Italian seasoning, but you can season this however you like. This is basil from our garden. I'm just going to do kind of a little handful of that, kind of crush it up. Just a little bit of salt. I'll try a little bit of Italian seasoning. And then a little bit of garlic and onion. Stir this up and give it a taste. I think it might need a little bit of sugar to kind of counteract the acidity of those tomatoes. Nope, I am going to do a little bit of the pink salt, pink Himalayan salt. Good to go. Okay, at this point we've got all of our toppings ready, our sauce is ready. We have 15 minutes on the first phase of the pizza crust baking, so we'll be back when it's time for phase 2. Oven just went off and I just took the skillet out. We're going to leave it still preheated at 425. Here's kind of what it looks like. You might notice that the crust forms air pockets all over the place. That's fine, that's just what it does. So now it's time to put our sauce and toppings on. Here's our sauce. Just going to spread that around. And I like to do our toppings underneath the cheese so that the cheese can kind of hold the toppings on. I'm going to do these minced red and green bell peppers all over the pizza. These are minced real small, so they'll rehydrate right there inside the sauce. Next, I'm going to do chopped red onion just on half of it for my husband and I. My children aren't too fond of raw onion. And then the cheese. Now remember, we did that layer of Swiss cheese directly on top of the dough, so I'm not going to go too crazy like I normally would with the cheese on this pizza. But now we'll just sprinkle our cheese on top. And back into the oven it goes for 10 to 15 minutes. The bigger the pan size, the thinner the crust, and the lower amount of time that you'll need. So since this is a 15-inch pan, I'm just going to do it on 10 minutes and check it at that point, see where we're at. See you in a minute. Here we are, it's been 10 minutes. Here's our finished product. Now, I actually don't know 100% sure if it's done yet. I cut it in traditional pizza slices, but to really know, I need to see the bottom of it and make sure the bottom is nice and crispy. And it might need to go in for another 5 minutes or so, but we'll see. I am going to put it in another 5 minutes because the bottom, I don't know if you can tell, but the bottom is still really flexible, really doughy, and I need to get it just a tad bit crispier. So I'm going to pop this in for another 5 minutes. I might go even up to 10, we'll see. and let you know what it was in just a minute. So what I ended up doing was I put the skillet on the lowest rack of my oven for another 10 minutes, and now the crust is good to go. Here's what the finished product looked like. Ignore this little guy. I dropped him on top of the pizza when I was trying to pull it out. But there you go. Homemade pizza. You saw how quick and easy it came together. There's that crust. You can see it's a lot darker and a lot crispier. It's not folding near as much as the other one was. Crazy crust pizza. Hope y'all enjoy. Bye.